let's do it.
Let's go. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Time Zones and Time Meters. I'm joined by Marcus again, which is so cool to have him on
Hi.
board. It's me, Josh, it's Simon, it's Marcus. We're going to be doing Genesis today, specifically the Peter Gabriel era. So that's going to be spawned from what's that? From Genesis to Revelations, all the way through to the
69.
Landways down on Broadway. So yeah, it's pretty exciting. This is definitely a speciality for you two guys. I dabble in Genesis, so this was great for me, and I had planned to spend some time on these earlier records, which I hadn't. So the preparation was actually quite interesting, and I can now tick it off that I've done that, which is quite cool. So we're going to delve into that, everyone, and we're going to be doing it in like a reverse order. So we're going to start with the oldest thing, work all our way through to the newest one of the six, and we're all going to give our ranking, if you will, for each one of the things as we go to. Sound good? Are you
Sounds
ready
good,
to
yeah.
go?
What
Yeah?
what is just quickly, like I know, yeah. Let's Marcus. What is your relationship with Genesis? I mean, like Emerson, Lake and Palmer. You had, you know, since your teenage years, you
Yeah,
listened to them. Still, you had to like recap a bit before
yeah.
we're done that episode. What's the case with Genesis here?
For me,
Had
I
had
mean,
you heard everything of this?
no, I actually haven't listened so much to from Genesis to Revelation, and not Trespass
Oh,
either.
yeah.
and But I mean, the other ones are like my third progressive band that I ever heard. I think it was first Emerson, Lake and Palmer, then it was Rush, and then it was Genesis. So this is like the foundation for me, and for me it brings something else compared to Rush. It broadens the genre quite a lot. So yeah.
When did you first hear them, Simon?
Well, that is the thing. I'm kind of a beginner when it comes to Genesis because it is this name that always people have always talked about Genesis, and in
Yeah.
different contexts as well. Like a lot of metal bands also always refer to Genesis as inspiration, you know, and of course because metal drives a lot of inspiration from prog rock, right? But um, for some reason, I never heard them, not even on like on the radio with their radio friendly era. So
Okay.
I think the first thing that I heard by them was Land of Confusion, but I did not hear it at release. I'm talking like I don't know, maybe 10, 15 years ago that I heard that thing, and actually like delving into their prog era, I didn't do until like I don't know the last. But yeah, within I can count the years on my hand at least.
Yeah.
I know it was when cleaning out the shed in the house where we live in now, and I had queued uh, selling England by the pound, and I thought, wow, wait, this is really good. And then I, had to check everything out. Yeah,
Yeah,
that,
right.
that that's when it clicked for me. For some reason, it's like our paths never crossed earlier.
I
Super
got
weird.
I got given a compilation of sort of OG prog sort of rock stuff because I was delving into the history and was just curious about it. So I got given a compilation which had like Rush and King Crimson and like all sorts of people like all through it, or ELP, the Electric Light Orchestra or whatever they're called, like everybody. And Genesis was the one that stood out the most. So out of the whole list of all of the artists, that was the one. So for me, I delved into them as my sort of starting place for 70s prog, I guess you'd put it. But I never really truly went. I actually sort of touched on a few of their sort of poppier ones to start with, which I was surprised by how familiar I was with quite a few of the tracks, like like your Invisible Touch or whatever it's called, and that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But it wasn't until I sort of went back a little bit that I got a chance to listen to a few albums, and so this as I said is timely because I always plan to go back because they had this band had the most appeal to me of all of those like you know, that sort of progressive movement that happened during that time. So
Yeah.
yeah. So it sounds like Marcus, you're the pro. You've been listening to these guys the longest.
Yeah, I have. But I've never like done it in this kind of more nerdy way where I really like look things up
Yeah.
and pay attention to everything like you do when you do a thing like this. So
Yeah.
I think this was really interesting for me to also to pick these 6 albums, which are the Peter Gabriel albums. That's also makes a lot of sense because they are connected.
Yeah, and they really are too, aren't they? And I love that this 6 albums is quite the journey. Like you get a real chance to see this band like coming into their own, creating their own identity and sort of building, and it's very, very clear throughout this too. So we'll probably get into it, but I think I'm excited.
Do we have to pick a standard order? Because now it's like we all three think something about the albums.
Yeah, sounds good. So how's about we start with you, Simon, because you're in my top left-hand corner of the screen. It could be different at home, but how's about we start with you, go to me, go to Marcus, and he can be the final judge.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's
Telling us we're both crazy. Of course, it's the rude
that's a
thing to
good
do.
plan.
It's the rude thing to do as well because we obviously have Marcus as our guest, and we'll put him at the last.
Well, I think it's he gets to veto our opinions. Yeah, so it's not so bad.
Okay,
right?
that actually sounds good, and we should add this veto rule from now on as well. So this is a cool idea. We'll expand on the concept later. All right. So what did you think of From Genesis to Revelations?
All right. So from Genesis to Revelation from 1969, I listened to. Actually, I had heard all the albums before we decided on doing this, and this was probably, I did this one out of curiosity, and I never really returned to it because I think it's. Maybe you can hear at some spots that they got something, but obviously they were put in the completely wrong context. I mean, so this guy King, this music record producer,
Yeah.
he really wanted them to be some kind of a, I don't know, this British invasion almost, or what do you call it? This psych pop.
It's like the moody
Thing.
blues and
Yeah, it's almost like Motown. It's almost Motown with those strings and stuff on. It's so completely different from what they later became. I think if you do like this, I think you should listen to this album from 2010 where Phil Collins is covering Motown hits. It's fine, but it's not what I want when I put Genesis on, and I think it's good that I know that this producer, he also was against this complicated stuff that they wanted to do. So the cooperation quickly ended after this, and then they are not even only they barely have anything complicated on it, or I mean, it's not very complicated. So yeah, no, I mean this was the easy one to put in my ranking. This is my least favorite one. Yeah,
number 6. Okay.
number 6.
So I thought listening to this was really interesting. I was not very familiar with it at all. Checked it out, and look, I enjoyed it. It's nothing that I'd go back to. It's nothing that I think was like revolutionary. It's nothing that I think it's particularly like fantastic either, but it's fine. The sounds are fine. The musicianship's fine. The music itself is fine. But to me, it doesn't like capture any of the great things that I've heard on all of these other albums, right? And so you can see the seeds are kind of there. You can tell from the tones, some of the sounds, but it's just not developed, is it? And so I think I wouldn't even class this as the same set of works. And I think if you don't like prog, check this one out, or check their more recent stuff out. And I think that's where it is, isn't it? It's less complex. It's got, it doesn't have anywhere near it doesn't even, I don't think it has a mellotron in it, does it? So they're not experimenting with as many textures and sounds and all of this stuff. It's got some funky like bass things that I didn't mind sometimes, but generally speaking, it was a bit flat for me. So I'm just going to give it the 6th spot as well, Simon. What do you think, Marcus? You're going to disagree,
Yeah,
Tom?
I'm with you here. Really interesting to listen to, like it is the beginning of the band, and that itself is interesting. How do you form a band? How you form an identity, and this like producer initiated band forming, or at least encouraging, like it was in this case. Interesting, but not very well. I will come back to it actually, because I like this 70s sound that they have. It's from 69, but it's still a 70s sound for me.
You
So
think
they
so?
were
I really
early.
think it's like, I think it really sounds 60s, but, or maybe it's that it doesn't, well, it doesn't sound like prog 70s. Maybe it's more like of the
Yeah.
Motown 70s or something.
Yeah, maybe I'm a bit confused here. One thing I picked up from it was that it sounds a lot like the Eurovision Song Contest songs from the 70s. I think they were inspired actually by this kind of music with the brass and that kind of arrangements and
I'd agree.
melodies.
I'd agree. They also sound young. I forgot to mention that too. Like they're young. They're like 17 or something, aren't they? Or
Yeah,
18.
look at the pictures from this era. It's so fun to see these geezers barely having a chest hair. Yeah, but
But I would
well,
agree, Marcus. I would agree that the brass instruments and the stuff that they bring into it, into that composition, to me, I sound and go, oh, yeah, it definitely feels a bit like that to me.
they have like the strings on these songs that I think, well, also is something that they use indeed with this Eurovision stuff, but I think it really doesn't really match the music so well. But yeah, of course, I should probably also listen to it more times than I have done, but I don't know. I don't know.
It doesn't reach the standard of the other Genesis things. I totally agree with that, and I put this at number 6, just as you
Yeah,
guys.
yeah. I figured as much. I figured
Yeah,
this one was
I don't think we're going to be surprising anybody who's in the background watching.
But
That's for
it's
sure.
also very diverse in many ways. It's so many different kind of music in this. You
yeah.
can really hear how they struggle to get their ideas through some way, and there's a lot of clues to what will become Genesis later.
Yeah.
Already in this, but hidden below strings and horns.
Yeah,
That was the most satisfying thing about this, was it just contextualized what was going on in the early days. And I guess it's a good segue for us to jump into the next one too, because this is where they separated from the producer and they decided they were going to do their own thing and be the creative genius themselves, right? So so this is where we move into the album called Trespass, or Trespass, depending on your accent. But yeah, Simon, what did you think of this one?
Oh, this one I really enjoy. I think that, I mean, you got top tracks on here. I think that, well, obvious is the ending classic, The Knife, but I mean, there's, or as you say in some accents, The Knife. There's
That wasn't
several.
a knife.
That was a knife. But there's, yeah, I mean, this is the Genesis that we know from the 70s. Of course, there's still more to get regarding complexity and rhythms, especially since that only really happens once Phil Collins joins. But I mean, I really like this album, and now it's getting more difficult to rank it, I would say, but I would still put this as my number 5, and then it gets really difficult. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, with this one for me, on the first listen through, because I hadn't heard it before, I thought to myself, I was wondering whether or not I preferred the soundscape of the original one, to tell you the truth. Not that I preferred the music or what they were doing, but just there was something about the sound of it. I was like, oh, this is where I can get bogged down in like 70s prog. You know, it definitely sounds of the era now. And so for me, it was really interesting. But once I played it a fair bit, I got used to like this. I kind of agree that the knife as you said, was a great track, and I know that's quite popular as well. But I quite like Dusk, which was a bit more mellow. I quite liked the vibe of Dusk, and so that actually was probably one of my more favorite tracks on the album as well, which is interesting because I don't think it seems to be as well loved. But in saying that,
Well, I enjoy the whole album, to be honest. Yeah,
and I
but
think
I
it's
would say that the knife is my
is your
favorite.
favorite, and I thought this was a really well, I thought it was a solid album, and I think that's what was different compared to the last one, is this wasn't a group of like singles that they put together hoping to like that something would catch with the popular crowds. I felt like this was a constructed, thought out album where the layers of each one of the tracks actually lifts it a bit too. So look, I'm gonna give this my fifth space as well, because I think the other ones are pretty good. But yeah, what do you think, Marcus?
Yeah, I like this one, but I did put it on number 5, just like you. Also, um, I think one thing that starts with this album, for me at least, is the thing about them having really recognizable album starts. That starts here when it comes in with this looking for someone, and it's so you know right away which album I'm going to listen to.
Yeah.
And I like that. All of the other albums starts like that too, with something really catchy, something that really stands out. So I like that about this too. Just a thing. I'm not sure I have so much to add to what you said. I'm looking through my notes. I like the whole album, but for me, this one is actually a clear step down from the other ones. It's a lot better than from Genesis to Revelation, but it's clearly lower for me than the other ones.
Yeah, yeah. I really think that after this one, that's when it's getting gritty. It's
Yeah.
difficult to pick them out.
I actually
Um,
found it hard with this one because I think fifth and fourth spot for me are like nearly interchangeable, and I'm quite interested to to talk to you about that once we get like further on. So that's
all right.
interesting.
Yeah, because I think like okay, so far we all had the same ranking. I think that now it's gonna differ. I think because I mean now we're getting to Nursery Cryme, 1971. Phil Collins has joined, and he makes a lot of difference on how they compose the tracks. It's getting increasingly complex, at least regarding the rhythmical stuff, and I think that that really makes a big difference with their sound. Like it's very significant in this era that they're doing all these, you know, odd time meters and yeah, and just the way that Phil Collins solves this is very different from let's say Bill Bruford. Like they do not have the same approach to odd time meters, so they really have their own sound. Um, It is, however, like they're not really big in the UK yet. They kind of hit it off in Italy, where they kind of enjoyed this more theatrical style of that I
Music,
guess
yeah.
Peter Gabriel comes with. Yeah. Um, there's Return of the Giant Hogweed. Um, I think it's super fun, you know, like it's this chaotic kind of Genesis. But I mean, Harold the Barrel, Fountain of Salmacis. Uh, I mean, musical box, fucking love it. It's for Absent Friend is also great. I mean, I think there's so many good tracks on here. And I love the little crazy chaotic Genesis that, I mean, this is like the peak of chaos, like composition sound wise. It goes, you know, Peter Gabriel is everywhere, you know, and I mean it's not really like he's singing pretty, but he's very enthusiastic. You know, that's the yeah. I hold this one. It's not my number one, but I would say that it's my number three. Yeah, yeah, it is my number three.
Oh, okay.
Mm.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it's not gonna be your number three, Josh.
So, so it's funny. I was listening to this for the first time at the gym. I hadn't listened to Nursery Cryme at all. I think I had heard maybe like one or two songs previously, but not, I wouldn't have been able to recognize them. So I was chucking this on and I put it on and just straight away was smacked in the face by the musical box. Like, how great is this track?
Yeah,
And so for
yeah.
me, this was the first album out of like when I started replaying these, because I did them in sequential order as well, where I just went, oh, wow, that was cool. Like, that was really cool. And so for me, this was a real standout. I kind of think it has a bit more of a sort of character driven, playful, but it also seems a little bit macabre. Like it's got, like, to me, it's got this little bit of darkness that's in there as well, which I think is
Yeah.
just it's the strongest element of this, to me. And I love that juxtaposition. So you kind of have this like playful and then this sort of dark, and it's a bit more theatrical. And so I don't know, it also is less long form sprawling compared to some of their later stuff. And so I feel like this for me is kind of a really, really perfect point. So it's interesting you say it's not going to be my third, Simon, because it's my third. And
Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh really? Okay. Yeah, yeah.
so I loved this fucking album. I thought it was really
yeah.
good.
Oh, fun.
I thought Seven Stones was actually good, and I haven't heard many people talk about it. Like, it's not a, I don't know, like maybe I'm not a part of the Genesis circles, but I think Seven Stones is significantly
People
better.
do not talk about that track a lot.
No, they talk about the Fountain of Salmachus or whatever it's called, and
Yeah,
they talk
yeah.
about like Return of the Giant Hogweed or Harold the Barrel or whatever for their fun. And the musical box, everyone says, is like one of their better works, right?
Oh, for sure, yeah.
But in saying that, like, I think Seven Stones, I think the musical box, I think the Fountain as well are just three fantastic tracks. Like they're just fantastic. And then the other stuff that's in there is interesting and it's fun and it's playful and it chops and changes things. And so for me, I actually really enjoyed this. I thought it was good.
You know, when I had listened to Selling England, and I was like, wow, this band is really great in the 70s, and then I had to look into them more, and I put on like a live show from Bataclan in '73, and where they play the musical box, Supper's Ready, Return of the Giant Hogweed, and The Knife. So like the musical box and the Return of that Giant Hogweed are on there, and I mean that also adds like a dimension when you see Peter Gabriel live performing this stuff. It really is like almost eerie, like this eerie aspect that it brings to these tracks with his, you know, makeup and shenanigans. Yeah, it's very cool. Yeah.
Marcus, what do you think? Are we both on drugs?
Yeah, no, I think I mean I'm not very different, but I have it on number 4.
Okay.
So for me this time it's like in the order they have been released. Maybe boring, but that's how it worked for me. But I think it's a really good album. It's a lot better than Trespass, I think. And I actually I know when I was looking up, I know that two quotation I think are a bit interesting. Because we did Emerson, Lake and Palmer, I found one from Keith Emerson from his listening to it. And he said, "This is not the start for Genesis, neither is it the end. No bullshit. Their new album is incredible." So he liked it anyway.
Yeah. But I think like they were like from a sales position, they didn't really break through in the UK yet, I believe, when they released.
No, I don't think they were. I don't know if this one made the charts. Maybe it did. Trespass didn't, did it? I'm not sure, actually.
It's time to do some quick Wikipedia searching, everyone.
Yeah. Anyway, I have another quotation that's maybe more interesting, and that's from BBC Music, where they said Collins' snappy drums were augmented by his uncanny ability to sound not unlike Gabriel, which is really interesting because Collins have the lead vocals on one of the songs.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that doesn't really stand out. I didn't notice to begin with, actually.
It's
You should.
also, there's also some people that really heavily critique it, don't they? They really heavily critique that track. So I think that's interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't notice the first time I listened to it either. And it wasn't until like afterwards that I was like, oh, you can tell when you go looking.
Yeah.
But at the same time, there is a similar like timbre maybe to his sort of register, right?
And especially in that time, they kind of had similar singing style and voice register.
Yeah.
That whole thing.
I don't
They could definitely fill in for each other.
Yeah, I don't know if Collins imitated Gabriel, perhaps.
Maybe.
I have no idea.
Could be, yeah. Also, regarding the charts.
Yeah, let's go.
So I mean, Trespass was the first one that did make the charts, and that one was in the 98th spot, so no real stuff there. And then you had the Nursery Cryme hit the 39th spot in the UK and the 11th spot in Italy. So they indeed were bigger in Italy than in the UK with this one.
Yeah, good call.
Yeah. So yeah, and then after that, they kind of became
a little
bigger,
bit popular.
Yeah.
All right, so that means we're moving on. We're going to be moving up to Foxtrot, right? Which is the highest ranked of all of Genesis's albums on like the prog websites that are out there. So this one, from a user's point of view, is incredibly loved, and it just edges out, I think, Selling England by the Pounds, but it's pretty close. So so we'll see whether or not we agree. What do you think, Simon?
Yeah, so this is difficult because it's a very good album, but generally the next one, I've had Selling England as my favorite, but now I'm thinking I'm changing my mind here. I think this is maybe because I played a little less than Selling England, that I still prefer it because it's just a little fresher to my ears. I think this Watcher of the Skies, what a great opening, with like imitating this alien in the instrumental parts. I mean, Supper's Ready is reason enough to put this one up there. I don't know if there's really is a better epic from the 70s that I consider, at least. And I love the classical guitar intro of Supper's Ready, Horizons, that I think they should, like, because let's remember, it's not the whole B-side, Supper's Ready. The Horizons are opens that B-side, and I think it's best to just listen to them after each other. But yeah, I mean, I love this thing. It's a little bit more accessible than the Nursery Cryme, I think. Yeah, I think I have to put this as my favorite. Yeah, I think I changed my.
Okay.
Yeah.
There you go. That's exciting.
As my favorite. I'm not saying that it's per se better, but I think it's my favorite. Yeah, I think so.
Oh, that's interesting. So this is where we will have a differing opinion. Foxtrot is the album that I didn't finish, and I tried playing it many times. And
really?
it's just, I just struggled with it when I first listened to it. This was a while ago. So this time coming back to it after doing the others, I was quite interested to see whether or not this extra exploration was going to change my mind, and if maybe it's just my ears grown and, you know, got bigger and bigger and bigger, or I've got used to like progressive music a bit more, especially from this era. And for me, look, it was definitely better than I remembered. And it has got a good narrative journey. It's got like different musical things that go on within it, which make it interesting and kind of cool. But to tell you the truth, it loses me a little bit. I quite enjoy Get 'Em Out by Friday. I think that the pacing change and those things I actually really quite enjoy. But the other stuff I just come in and out of a little bit. I just don't know why, but I'm not emotionally engaging with this material as much as what I did the previous album. So for me, I'm going to say that Foxtrot just doesn't quite click until I get to the last track. And Supper's Ready is good. And the main reason I put Foxtrot over Trespass is just because of Supper's Ready. So I think Supper's Ready is so good that I have to go, okay, album wise, where are they? What's going on? How's going? And I just go, Supper's Ready. And so for me, it's a bit like that. But even in Supper's Ready, sometimes I find I start to drift away a little bit. And so I think that's the theme in Foxtrot is, for some reason, there's just something about the sensibilities or the way that they've written it, which I think it just hits that kind of, you know, we've had this discussion before, Simon, when we get carried away with, you know, like soloing and sort of off on funny tangents. If it's not sticking to the vibe of the song for me, then sometimes I can it drops off. And this album has that happen a few times for me. So although it's a good album and it's strong and it's definitely going to come in okay, I definitely think that this one is my... What does that mean, this one? This one means it's the fourth. The fourth.
I by the way, see on Prog Archives, then Selling England is ranked higher than Foxtrot.
Okay.
Yeah. Foxtrot has a rating of 4.62 out of 5, and Selling England has 4.65. So, yeah, they're in the ballpark.
Yeah, that's like fingernails difference, isn't it? So Marcus, do you disagree with me? Do you think Foxtrot is stellar, amazing, wonderful?
Yeah, I do. but I have it on number 2. So it's not the best one for me, but it's a really good album for me.
What do you like about it? Yeah, like what is it that stands out for you?
It's difficult for me to describe. I think why it's just there. It's got the melodies, it's the feelings, it's the contrasts, the things that you might maybe think is like leaving the theme or some way that makes it interesting for me. I love it when albums are changing, evolving through their time span, and I think it's the melodies, actually. If I'm going to that's the reason. It's the melodies in the songs, that how the vocals are really interesting melodies, very different melodies from what you usually hear in songs. This theatrical thing that Gabriel always have in this era, at least. That's the thing I love.
Yeah, that's cool, and I think it's a good insight too. I mean, I like music that chops and changes, but to me, I think there's exactly what you said is probably exactly it. So it's kind of cool. It's great. Yeah. All right, well, there you go. So both of you decided that I don't know what I'm talking about. That's what I heard you say. Simon, did you want to add anything on that album just before we move on to the next one?
No.
For example, the sales. What was Foxtrot like in the UK?
Oh, well, so it was on 12th spot in the UK, 15th in Italy. It also actually charted in Germany.
Okay.
45th spot. Yeah.
Cool.
But, and now comes the bestseller. of this era, I would say. Uh, well, I
Selling,
guess maybe
yeah.
yeah, of the yeah, exactly. So best-selling England by the pound. This one charted on third spot in UK, fourth spot in Italy. Uh, yeah, and then it also charted in Australia, 52nd spot, and 70th spot in the US. So I mean, clearly, I mean, even if they were big somewhat, it's nowhere near the 80s where they, were doing number ones and also hit it big in the US. However, in the prog rock context, it's still, fairly popular. Um, and I think that this one I kind of consider my favorite. But yeah, maybe it's because we did an album study of this one, Josh, that
Yeah.
I just heard it a little bit too much in the end, and just get more excited of listening to Foxtrot instead. But I mean, I think we talked a lot about this album, of course, because we did that episode. I think it's so nicely. I love it when you do something with a theme, how it opens up with this a cappella part, and then kicks into the which also ends the album. I just love when you frame something like that. I adore, you know, Firth of the Fifth and the Cinema Show, like these big prog songs. I love that they put this little easy ballad with Phil singing on it. There you can really hear that Phil is doing the vocals. I'm not going to talk too much about it. I'm putting this as my number two. So yeah, Selling England by the Pound. What's your take, Josh?
I'm putting this at number one. It
Legit.
was, yeah, and look, it was close. My number two and number one were really close as well. Just like my, what's that, three and or four and five or whatever it was. But for me, this was close. I just have to play like Dancing with the Moonlit Night is such a great song. It's probably my
Yeah,
favorite
yeah.
Genesis song. Probably, at least it's vying for contention in the top probably a five. And as well as that too, like this is just a strong album all round. I think it's got some really good stuff in it, and I think its highs are just a little bit higher than well,
Then your number one spot.
than my number no, than my number two spot. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
So
yeah, yeah,
I
exactly.
think that's it. I think the songs are really strong individually. I think the emotional connection is more immediate in this one than some of the others. I think it's got atmosphere without too much sprawling and too much sort of virtuosity noodling, and as well as that too, I think it's got this feeling of like it's prog, but it's not overly indulgent. And I really like that about this. I think my favorite is obviously Dancing with the Moonlit Night, but I also do like Firth of Fifth. And I think that the Cinema Show grew on me too after listening to it for the album review that we did previously. So I think it's good. It's interesting with the Battle of Epping Forest as well, and the context that's behind it as too. But I think individually the tracks just in this one are that little jump up. So this one sits in at my number one, and I think it's got a lot of integrity. This album. Marcus, what do you think?
Yeah, I have it on number one too, and this is one of those album that I have like internalized. It's it's part of my prog rock soul, so to speak. And for the same reason as Foxtrot, it's the melodies, it's the sounds, the flute things, yeah,
Oh
everything.
yeah, yeah, it's great in this.
So I really love it. And it's close to Foxtrot. This one in Foxtrot is like the foundation for me of the Peter Gabriel Genesis, and I think both those two are in a class by themselves, so to speak.
Yeah, cool. So we're pretty similar with this one as well. You've told Simon that he was wrong.
I guess we are not very controversial here.
This is cool
Marcus,
though.
Marcus, what's your take on Battle of Epping Forest? Is that your favorite track?
this I don't have. Well, I think it's actually the first track that is my favorite. Dancing with the Moonlight Night.
Yeah,
But otherwise, I see this as a unit. I don't see the
yeah,
tracks. This is like
okay.
an album. I don't really
'Cause
differentiate between. It just continues with. It comes another song, but it's still the same album. It's like I always listen to it as an album.
yeah, I
I
guess
never
you.
listen
Yeah.
to specific songs like that.
Because sometimes you have the Battle of Epping Forest is a little bit like where opinions
Differ.
differ.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
and I do think that it's the weakest part of the album at least. Yeah, but I mean I don't dislike it, but I think it's weaker than the rest of it.
yeah. Okay. Yeah.
All
I can't
right.
really
So
tell.
that leads us to our final album to talk about. For those keeping score in the background, they would know what we've ranked them already. But for those that are like me and just go along with the flow, we're moving on to The Lamb Lays Down on Broadway. Simon, let's go. What do you think?
Yeah. Okay. So I mean, this is of course where it started to uh, go a little bit sour in the band. Like Peter Gabriel was not always present. I guess he also became a father around this period, but also he was doing like different projects. If he was filming something or whatever it was, that he was not really in the writing process as much as the rest of the band, that it all became drawn out. And also like so there is this uh, concept, and this concept has to spread over 2 albums, and I'm just not a big double album guy. I actually can't think of a single double album where I think this one really deserved to be a double album. And I think this same thing here. I think that is probably why I think this one is weaker than my 1, 2, 3. So I still think it's better than Trespass. Um, I do enjoy it, but I think that it's a little bit front heavy. Like it starts out strong, and then I kind of lose track a little bit. I I should say that I have actually only listened to this one by streaming, and maybe if you have, your LP with your guide of the concept, that it really triggers it to a higher level, or CD, whatever. I mean, the story is there as well, I understand, but it's kind of a, I don't know what was in his pipe when he wrote this concept, because it's very it's very weird, um, with this uh, guy finding this lamb on Broadway, but and getting these visions, and I don't know, I can't explain this concept, but it fits in like kind of the manner that they had at that time. Like it was very weird, yeah. And but yeah, it's great, but it's not as great as 1, 2, 3. So this is a fourth spot. I still enjoyed more than Trespass.
Yeah, okay. This one was pretty much written by Peter Gabriel though, and it wasn't it. Like I think that's what caused the fraction. If I remember reading,
No,
I
well,
thought he
it
was
was
the one
his
that was.
concept. It was his concept, but I mean, he did not make the instrumentals, like the music and the melodies. I think he uh,
Okay.
and then they
Yeah.
had to match the lyrics to the songs, and in the end he did not even have the time to write all the lyrics, so he also, there's a couple of tracks on there that are
Yeah, instrumentals
the
basically. Yeah.
yeah, well, no,
Mm.
well, with lyrics that he didn't write actually, that he
Oh,
kind of put on entrepreneur for the rest of the band.
yeah. Okay. So it's interesting because I would say that so this is my number two, and I was very, very, very like I have some very strong preferences for this album over the others in some ways. So for me, I prefer the soundscape. I prefer this sound than I do the 70s prog like sounds. And this one definitely has a different tones and different like sounds that go on in it. I think it's less showy as well. Like I feel like it's got
Yep.
it's much less showy, and for me that sits in my sort of happy place. I think there's enough diversity in it for it to be seen as different and to have some movement, if you will, and creativity within it. I thought it was a really kind of, well, look, I think it's a pretty deep world building attempt, and so I sort of praise it for that as well. But like you said, it just fails the endurance test. Like, I've started this album so many freaking times to just end up not finishing it. And it's usually like once I start to get to 50 minutes in an album, I realize that I'm going to have to stop it here and play from here onwards separately. And the amount of times I've done the first half compared to the second half is significant. And I think that's where the problem with this album lies, is in the length. And I think if they chopped it up, if they changed it, if they even maybe released it as part 1 and part 2, then we'd probably find it more palatable. For me, it's interesting because it has what's one of my favorites. I really like the middle. So I like Counting Out Time, I like the Carpet Crawlers, and I like the Chamber of 32 Doors. I think is one of their best songs ever done. Like, I really enjoy that song, and I know that maybe the themes or the way that it's sung, might not be as appreciated in this modern age as much, but there's something about the way that it's written, the sensibilities, and what's communicated in the chamber, which I just think is sensational. And so it's got this, to me, this really strong point there, which is like, I get, what's that, like the ninth, 10th, and 11th track, which I think are just stellar, and probably one of my more favorite sort of chunks in any album that's sort of in this sort of time frame. I thought Anyway was strong as well. The Lamia, if that's how it's pronounced, I thought was really good as well, which is in the second half of the last part of the chapter, I guess. And the Colony of the Slippermen's a little bit like, and I kind of find that interesting. But in saying that, I think this album is too long, and that's the thing that for me just shoots it out of like the top spot. I really enjoy so many parts of this album, but it's just, it's just got that problem for me anyway. I think this album demands more attention than I have.
Yet you changed your opinion, because this used to be your number one, right?
This one was not my number one. My number one Genesis of all time is oh my god, the one later on. It's like The Winds of
The Trick of the Tail.
Yeah.
Oh, so, the Wind of the Wuthering. Okay, that's like 2 albums later. Yeah.
And so for me, that's my favorite because of its mood. I just think that's sensational. But that's a different topic, and we're not talking about it today. But this one, because of the 32 Doors, I always think of this album and go, oh, I really like what they deliver. And so I think that's why. Maybe that's why in the past I've made reference to this one a bit, but yeah. So I'm going to give it my number 2. That's enough of me talking. What do you think, Marcus?
Yeah, I have it on number 3, and for me this one is a bit. It's not as good as the 2 on my top, which are Foxtrot and
Selling England.
Selling England by the pound. And the reason, I think this have almost like pop songs, really strong songs, just like you mentioned, Josh. I also love those songs, but some of the other songs don't appeal to me at all, really. So it's really uneven in quality for me. It's still a good album. I have it on 3. It's a good album. But I don't think this one is as good as a piece, as an album. Like the others, and perhaps that's because it's too long. I don't know. Maybe they just didn't pull it together. Too much material to work with. Maybe. I know it takes time. I mean, just in retrospect here, they have released 1 album every year up until this point. Yeah. So I mean, and touring.
But I mean, most bands did those days.
Yeah, they did. But I mean, that it's kind of incredible that they put this kind of epic albums together under those conditions. So I mean, I don't blame them
No.
Nothing like that. It's a really good album, and it has an epic start with the Lamb Lies Down on Broadway, just like the other album. Yeah, I don't know what else to say. Yeah, I want to comment on something else about double albums that really work, I think,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
a bit of a different topic. But have you heard Snow by Spock's Beard? It's
No.
also quite close to this. It's also about New York, and listen to that one.
Okay.
All right.
It's a double album that really works.
Yeah.
Okay,
good
nice. Yeah,
recommendation.
because I figured we could even do like a double album episode at some point. Maybe that's the next mission for this trio because uh, um, yeah, I really struggle with double albums so clearly, and I might need some good tips.
I definitely
Um,
need some recommendations for double albums because I can only think of a few that I've listened to. So,
but it gets a bit fuzzy. I mean, now we're going a bit off topic here, but it gets a bit fuzzy when you enter the CD era because all of a sudden a single CD needs to be a double LP. So yeah, but is it the waiting room or the one after that anyway? That is like this, just the droning, you know, the psychedelic track.
The Waiting Room, I think. It's
The Waiting Room,
like
right?
3 minutes of just noise or something.
Yeah, I appreciate it when they put something like that in. I do enjoy that kind of stuff, and indeed I have like Lamb Lies Down on Broadway, Fly on a Windshield, back in New York City, uh,
Yeah,
and
there's a
Carpet
lot of good
Crawlers.
songs.
Yeah, but I have to say like, but the rest kind of. Then I always think like, okay, this track sounds a little bit like another track, but it's not quite as good. You know, maybe I just need to listen to it more. Probably this is the one that I had the least listening time to. Like I saved myself for this album when they did like a re-release of it last
Ah,
year. I was like savoring up for a good moment to listen to it, and yeah, it hit, but it also missed a little bit. Um, let's see here. All right. So, when it comes down to it, I guess my final ranking is on. So on first spot I have Foxtrot. On second spot I have Sell in England. Third spot I would put Nursery Cryme, and then I would put uh, Lamb Lies Down on Broadway as my fourth, Trespass fifth, and From Genesis to Revelation as my sixth spot. Josh, what is your final?
My final is Selling England by the Pound, number one. The Lamb Lays Down on Broadway, number two. Number three was Nursery Cryme. Number four was Foxtrot. Number five was Trespass. And number six was From Genesis to Revelation.
I can totally respect that. Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
good. It's not over between you and I.
Don't have to fight about it.
That's right. Marcus, your six were...
Yeah, I had Selling England by the Pound at the first, Foxtrot number two, number three was Lamb Lies Down on Broadway, number four, it's Nursery Cryme, then five, Trespass, and then From Genesis to Revelation.
Yeah, it's really interesting, isn't it? And if we were to add up our scores and we gave like first place 6 and second place 5, and we're probably going to come up with a what is the general consensus across the board, isn't it? It's going to be,
I think so too.
yeah, if we put them all together, and although we have some slight variances, we're all in agreement that From Genesis to Revelation was in sixth, Trespass was in fifth, and then you've got like Nursery Cryme. I think you guys sort of put in, and that interchanges with the Lamb Lays Down with Broadway with you, Simon, and stuff. So look, it's interesting. It's cool. That sort of brings, yeah, that sort of brings our show to an end.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank
But
you
I think
so
indeed.
much.
Hey, I'm curious. What's going on with your project, Marcus?
Yeah, please tell us about that.
Well, I have I have written all the songs for my coming album, and I struggle with the recording and the mixing and stuff like that. So, and I have been really unhappy with the bass sound. So that's what I've spent like last 3 weeks on, perfecting my bass sound, making notes, changing things, recording, listening, changing something else, recording. So I'm not even at the mixing stage with that. I'm at the recording stage to really capture what I want from the bass, and it's so difficult. I'm not a technician. I need to learn this stuff,
Yeah.
and that's by making small adjustments, trying to figure out what the changes, and then go on.
I know with
Instruments and
when
stuff like that.
when Peter Gabriel did his solo stuff, he of course had a bassist for him with Tony Levin, but
Yeah.
he put a diaper under the strings when they did which one the duet with Kate Bush. Yeah,
Yeah,
so
you
then
can get really creative. I'm just trying to get a decent sound.
yeah,
It's not that
yeah. And then you can add the diapers. Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
All
But I
right.
mean,
So
I'm a bass player, so this is super important for me.
Yeah, it's like
yeah, of
that's
course.
what I was going to bring
Judge
up.
music from how this bass sounds, and so I really want it to sound good, but it's difficult.
This will go under the name Doserson when you
Yeah,
release it. Yeah,
yeah, I will.
yeah.
And apart from that, I have some help with drums, which I'm really grateful for. So that's also moving forward,
Right.
and that's also key to this being. And I'm not good enough playing drums, so having some help will really make this fly, I think.
That's great.
Cool.
Awesome.
Who do you have on drums then? Is someone?
It's Alexander from the Sonic Circus band who helps me.
Oh yeah. Cool.
He's the lead vocalist, but he's also drummer.
Oh yeah. So
The reference Phil Collins.
yeah, exactly. We sold it a bit. You don't have this guy. What was his name? Simmons. No.
Alexander is not playing the drums in Sonic Circus. It's Krister. So we have two drummers.
Oh, okay, like that. All right. Oh yeah. Oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah.
So, but he also doesn't have a bass drum like Peter Gabriel on the set when he like if you look at those old like that show from Bataclan before, for example, then he has like this bass drum where he's standing singing with. Have you seen
No,
that?
but I haven't. It sounds like a crazy idea. But
Yeah,
but
I think it has to be for show.
yeah. He's playing the cowbell.
Do you have any live shows?
No, not at all. I did the live performance as Doserson a few months ago. My first, it was like an open mic, and I figured I'll make acoustic versions of my songs and just go there. So I did,
right.
and that was a big step for me because I'm not used to being alone on the stage and sing and play. So I figured this open mic will be great because no one I know will be there. I can just go there and no expectations or anything.
Nothing to lose.
No. And there will be a lot of other people playing, and I will kind of get lost in the crowd. And when I get there, there was just one other guy playing. So it was me and him.
Yeah.
And of course, there were people I knew in the audience. So,
just to make it hard.
It wasn't at all the way I thought, but it went really well. So I'm happy with that.
Nice.
But the band, we're in the Sonic Circus. We're in a writing period, so we just write right now, and we are going to put another album together, kind of shorter than the last one we released. But that's moving along, and we decided we don't want to do live shows. I mean, all of us have works and stuff, so we need to. If we have live shows, we focus on them too much. And the writing gets not as much attention as it should. So we said no live shows for now. We just write and learn the new songs and do live shows later.
Yeah, cool, awesome.
Right.
Yeah, it makes sense to me.
That was a long answer to that question. Sorry.
No, that's great. So if things go as planned, you will actually release 2 things this year then, or
I think my own stuff will be released after this year, and for the band, we only plan to record the first half of the album this year, and then
Oh
next
yeah,
half
okay.
next year.
Long
Yeah, cool.
project.
It's both, yeah, it's both about time and also about money. It costs money to go into the, so we kind of split it up so it's not too heavy financially.
Yeah, makes sense. Makes perfect sense. I
Yeah,
think
so it will take time.
yeah, that's cool. You'll have to let us know when of course you're getting closer to the end, and if you need some ears to be able to listen to your bass stuff, just send some
Ah,
stuff to us, and we'll give you some
yeah,
feedback.
yeah. Maybe I should. Maybe I should. And you know, I have Riverside Maris Duda bass sound from the Anno Domino. That's what I'm comparing to.
Well, that's a hard act to follow, my friend.
Yeah,
But awesome, yeah.
yeah.
Ah,
I know.
cool.
No, you know that song.
Yeah, absolutely. Left Out's one of my favorite songs of all time. Um,
Yeah,
so the album's right up there. Anyway,
yeah.
let's call it, guys. Thank you, Marcus, for joining us.
Yeah.
Thank you, Simon, for being your awesome self. Thank you, everyone, for listening to us. Hopefully, well, I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments. I know Simon would. I'm sure Marcus would too. So please give us a like, a subscribe, and comment if you can. We'd love to hear what you have to say. Until next time, we'll see you guys later. Enjoy your listenings. See you later, everyone. Bye.
Yeah, now we're going.
Bye.
Bye. All right.